When there's an absolute zero, nothing can go negative. This week on The Hapless Heroes.
Evil? No. Irresponsibility? Probably.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Hapless Heroes podcast. I'm Francesco, and I'm your host and DM as we get right back into the adventure here in time. But before we get right into it, I'm going to do what I do every week and introduce my cast, starting on my virtual left with Dave playing Absolute Integer Zero.
Good evening, everyone.
John as Lord Jarrell the Light.
So I am a god, then.
Mike as Lord and Captain Quinn Southwind.
Always at my service.
Notably son of a god.
True.
And Nicole as Boris. Yeah, and Nicole as Boris the Butcher.
I'm pretty sure it's like 200 Modrons I could fit in my pocket.
Zach is not with us for this episode, but he should be back next week. So, but right now, Pragnar does have a very important task, and that is teaching all of the Modrons the definition of the word friend. So he's got a lot to get through. There's a lot of Modrons out there, and that's really what he's got his heart set to, because we all know that Pregnart really truly is the heart and soul of this party.
And it's Pregnart, so there's a lot of definitions of friend to get through.
There are so many. So he's going to be occupied with that while we do some more exposition and plot development here.
Yeah, I wonder if, with my relationship with the Modrons being what it might be, if his thing about puppet shows me be more prophetic than it was originally intended to be.
Oh, shit. Zach's gonna listen back to this now, and you're gonna just see his ego fucking like explode. You're gonna be able to see it from the other side of the planet. Yeah, but speaking of things that happened last time, right? That's what we are trying to do with Zero, or what the plan seemed to start going in the direction of was, how do we install Zero as the temporary, maybe not temporary, Primus for this group of rogue Modron? There was some conversations that were happening, and one of the tri-drones led you to a pentadrone, which then gave you a list of commands, and you went to enter an admin password and entered the default admin no password, and you're in. Because as Nicole put it, right, like, it's the very first network. Of course they left it as the fucking default.
It's what defined the default.
We had our PSA after that, but yeah, now we're back here. We're just gonna drop right back into where you just fucking you heard Pentadrone 4 say, override commands available.
List override commands.
Search returned too many results. Please enter additional terms.
Where to go from here? Override Primus equals 0.
The Modron begins to shake violently. Command error. Command error.
Cancel command.
And it goes back. Hello, I am Pentadrone 4. It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance, Absolute Integer 0.
Login root.
Enter password.
Username, admin, password null.
Accessing. Root password entered. Override commands still available.
Well, I took for granted a full reboot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would need to re-log in.
Yeah, okay. There we go. Just so that we can yada yada the rest there.
Yeah. Fantastic. Did I forget to say sudo?
No, these aren't fucking Linux or Unix bots here. No. That's a nerd joke.
It is.
Yeah. I'm just going to assume a few things about the target audience.
Yeah, but when you assume other things about it, not just the target audience, but like how complex I really want to make stuff. Like I gave you all of the information you actually need to know in the last few minutes.
Yeah. Oh, you absolutely did. Of course, my brain's going to overcomplicate it for me anyway. But if anybody else has any ideas about this one, it might be because Zero's too high-minded about it. Not a first.
Boris scuttles over on her crab and just says, "Override Primus."
Incomplete command.
I don't feel like Jarl would know one thing from another with regard to this. So,
but then Boris kind of went, because you walked over and just like said something to it, and then turns to you after it returns the result of the command and says, "Greetings. I am Pentadrone 4. How may I address you?"
Boris curtsies from on top of the giant crab Hector and says, "I'm Lord Lady Boris, the benevolent butcher, Baroness of Riverford, esteemed friend of his esteemed lordship, Captain Dean Quinn Southwind." And then curtsies a second time.
Lord Captain Dean.
"Greetings, Lord Lady Boris, the benevolent butcher, Baroness of Riverford, esteemed friend of his esteemed lordship, Captain Dean Quinn Southwind. I am Pentadrone 4. It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance."
Override Primus equals absolute integer 0.
Processing. Primus set. Set directive. And its voice gets very serious.
And the 0 side kind of addresses Morgan on the inside, just like, "Oh, I think this one's going to be on you. We need the kind of complexity I can't do on my own."
They're taking too long. Boris says, "Dance!"
Pentadrone 4 begins a very strange but somewhat familiar dance with its spindly little arms poking out of its star-shaped frame, where it's just like it's moving the pieces. It's like spinning. It's like slowly tapping around in a circle, and it kind of like does a little bow, and then it just repeats that.
Boris applauds every time it bows and now waits for Zero to make his decision.
0 begins giving instructions for rebuilding the stone enclosure to enclose the ley line. That's the word. I can't word.
Yeah, I forgot that there was some diagrams or whatever that were at least shown to you. Am I right about that? Yeah, and also you remember some of the stuff from the book or Filbert's journal, which also had some of those diagrams in it.
Plus, I had a lot of knowledge dumped on me by the collective books that Uhl had on the topic.
Yes.
Which is giving me probably reasonable insight into how to actually operate this network with some sort of efficiency and being able to get commands all the way to the end.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we can. I mean, like you've at least you know the syntax at this point. You figured that out, so like it's not really that crazy. Sure. This Modron, Pentadrone 4, it says command received. I am Pentadrone 4. We are 0. We are absolute integer 0.
Jarrell's slightly concerned by "we are 0" is a bit ominous. I hope everything goes smoothly.
0, you feel as if you have some sort of like mental connection with this singular drone. as you begin to move or issue commands, like it's almost as if you don't even have to speak them out loud. It just does them.
Mm-hmm.
Jarrell walks over to Zero. Do you have to get them all to do that?
Oh, good. I just send it the thought to pass the override command downward to anybody below the network on him.
One by one, this pentadrone begins introducing itself. Greetings. We are absolute integer 0. And the other things respond. Greetings, I am Pentadrone 1. Greetings, I am 346 cubed. Greetings, I am, and that whole thing. And then slowly, those individual greetings start slowly melding away, and it's now we are absolute integer 0. And then eventually it gets to the point where then they all say it all at once. All 100 something of these Modrons all say in unison, we are absolute integer 0.
And now 0 leans down towards Jarrell. Now it's ominous.
Yeah.
Is that a threat? Is this
if I wasn't the one who did it, it'd be threatening to me too.
Yeah. It's a little spooky. Any thoughts from the group about that?
Boris is on the back of her spider crab, raising her hands over her head with, a sword in her hand still, going, we are absolute integer 0. I'm still wearing the Hellhound skull, too, just to note.
But that is the last thing that you hear them say. After they say it in unison, they are now silent, and they all just look to 0.
Good. They're ready to start receiving commands. Okay, we need... All right, we'll start directing a significant number of them towards reconstruction of the stones of the ley line enclosure.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need all of the Modrons for that. Just maybe 10% of them I can put on that, because I'm assuming
I want to say
have
here. Let's get a tangible number for people.
Yeah,
as
that
we
sounds like a good idea.
See all
a
the
significant
drones
amount would be different.
Activate, and we can try to drill down into the specifics of which types. But I mean, they're all going to be doing relatively the same tasks. It's just that obviously some had more access than others to certain functions. But all, in total, there are. I mean, I did say dozens last episode, but I feel like that might have been I might have been underselling it because of just the sheer amount that were dropping from the sky, right? I mean, a ton were destroyed, but there's probably about 150 Modrons all totaled when you count them all up.
Oh, I felt like there were a lot more than that, but all right,
no, many of them were destroyed, right? Because they had a lot of them diverted, and there was some that were destroyed in the ensuing battle. But the ones that were at least surviving, because there were more coming down too. But as they hit the ground, they just shattered because they didn't have the directive or protection anymore. So, but there are some that may even come out of the woodwork. You don't know. I mean, there could be some scattered throughout the city even. Still,
I like this better, being the master of 150 Modrons versus being the literal god of all Modrons everywhere.
No, you have a small army. You have a small detachment of essentially a army of rogue Modrons that are
I was
all
picturing
synced.
hundreds of thousands.
No. That would be a lot scarier. But however, 150 rogue Modrons is enough to send the message that, oh, this is fucking ominous. And there could, like I said, there could be more scattered throughout, whatever the aftermath is in the actual city of Ull outside of these tower walls. But those are the ones that were just collected in this specific area.
Excellent. I send 140 for reconstruction of the tower, and I'm going to send 10 of the lowest base units, the ones that I can spare sort of the most.
So I'm going to tell you a little bit more information.
Searching.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you a little bit more information, right? Because you have all the different.
Right.
You essentially have a few different classes of them, right? You have your
Yeah.
duo drones. So you have your mono drones, which are the spheres. Your
All
duo
right.
drones, which are the cubes. Your tri drones, which are the pyramids. Your quad drones, which are the shields. And then your pentadrones, which are the star-shaped. They would typically exist in sort of like a almost like semi-caste system, as far as like with like the more points or more, like the more of a shape that they are, right, the more sides to their shape, the higher level functions they're capable of, with monodrones being capable of only the most basic commands in tasks, and then working your way up from them.
Excellent. 10 monodrones are going to be my search team.
Okay, and what are they searching for?
They are just sort of taking a gently widening spiral and looking for more modrons
Throughout the city?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to have them spiral out and try to find more, but 140 of the remainder of them are going to be on construction duty at the moment.
Sounds good. Those 10 will go off and begin searching. They have wings, so they do flutter off and very slowly. If you imagine like a bouncy ball, like a metal bouncy ball, or just a metal sphere, just with tiny little wings floating away, very almost like a bumblebee, just that kind of almost very erratic and adorable if they weren't so kind of terrifying at the same time. Because of how innocent they are, and yet how now they are entirely under the control of, your friend. So, it's good to be on this side of it, but, it's still a scary thing to see just happen immediately.
Fantastic. Just as sort of a follow-on question, what kind of visual data can I get back from those monodrones as they're off searching?
It's not like you're looking through a camera or a scope or something like that that's giving you a perfect view. What you're getting more is the feeling and sort of with the monodrone specifically, you kind of get the sense of almost the sense of place. Remember how we always kind of played with the fact that does Zero have a soul? Does Zero have emotions? Does Zero feel things? Right?
Yeah.
Right. Because you're very much very rigid thing. But you're actually getting sort of almost like a feeling and a mental image that's mostly clear, but in some ways a little bit obscured of where they're at. But you can still get a general feel and sense for where they are throughout the city and what they're experiencing.
Okay, that's more than I had before.
As if they were an extension of yourself. It's just it's a lot to process for you right now, because suddenly it's you are in connected with literally 150 different entities that are all a part of you now, or an extension of you. You are the Gestalt consciousness that is now guiding them in a small scale.
Fantastic.
So they're just operating as your drones, right? Any sort of mental command you issue them, they just do it. It just happens. It's almost like another muscle. You're kind of building a new muscle memory with the way that you're kind of controlling them without actually touching anything. It's still a little foreign to you, but you're getting the hang of it quickly.
Yep. It's going to be gobbling up a significant amount of Zero's attention for the at least short to medium term future on this. So that's what I'm doing right now.
While the construction's happening, you can see actually the drones are actually almost like standing up and building almost a Modron pyramid of themselves to help move up some of these larger sections of the enclosure that were built to almost stand them upright before they then begin actual repairs. You can see that their arms start turning into little blowtorches or little wrenches, or you know what I mean, their hands turn into different tools as they do this process as rapidly as possible. I mean, it's just a swarm of these tiny little robots or constructs that are just now beginning this work. It's going to take some time still, but they're making very quick progress. While that's happening, though, I want everybody to make me perception checks, please. I will also say Pregnart is among the robots, because he's just talking to them and just pretending like he's one of them this entire time while they're doing these tasks. Zero, what do you got?
2 on the die plus 5 is 7. I feel like that's appropriate since I've got all this going on.
Yes, your focus is elsewhere. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. Jarrell?
5.
Nice. Good old Jarrell perception / insight / wisdom based check skill. Love it. Quinn?
22.
22 is good. And Boris, who sees everything?
23, because I rolled a 3.
Oh.
I was so close.
Reliable talent is a savior. Right, that's literally the lowest you can roll. Things you're proficient in. So, okay, Quinn, Boris, there is a slight rumble in the earth. I mean, it's faint. But, like, and you're not sure maybe if it's just, like, you're getting your land legs back after floating around for like, a few hours, right? Or maybe, like, it's just, like, the wobbliness in your legs, that is still kind of, figuring itself out. Or but like, it does kind of feel like there's something a little bit more. I'll say, Jarrell, that's kind of what it feels like to you. You're just kind of like feeling like you're having a little bit of slightly harder time on your feet, but for you, it's probably just like the remnants of, flying. You don't really do that a lot. And yeah, Zero's got his focus elsewhere. But yeah, you can kind of there is a bit of a rumbling beneath your feet.
I'm sitting on Hector, so I definitely do not assume it's my legs.
That's a good point. You are sitting on Hector.
That's why I'm so perceptive.
Hector looks up at you and makes one like a clatter with his little mandibles.
Boris first looks over at Pregnart. Like, just kind of like looks at him to see if he's in the middle of passing earthquake.
I wouldn't make him do that when he's not here, but I do love that. It's like, he's going to be so pissed if there's like a ground quake and he has nothing to do with it. So we can just leave that as a mystery. Because like, I know Zach's going to listen to this episode. So like, he's going to be like, you're damn right I had something to do with it. Pregnart casts earthquake. That's what I've been playing. But
no, I just see him like talking to the Modrons though, right? He's just
and help and trying to be helpful because like that's just a
Yeah.
wholesome little dude he is, right?
Yep. So not casting earthquake.
Yep, and he's also still talking to them about the magic of friendship while he's passing them bricks and doing other things.
Of course. So I scuttle on my crab over to Jarrell, I guess would make the most sense, probably.
Mm-hmm.
And lean down to Jarrell, I guess, from the top of my crab. I don't even know. I get the crab to squat.
You can get the crab to squat. Its legs are so long that you can literally have it stand straight up, and it's like 12 feet tall, so you're like 12 feet in the air, or you can have it like shrink down and then just like it's got joints in its legs.
Yeah.
So
I mean, normally on its back, you're probably not even at. Well, no, you're probably right at eye level with Jarrell if it's 4 feet tall.
Yeah, I mean, no, it's 12. Its legs. Its legs are 12 feet long. So like it can.
Which means that it's probably about 4 feet off the ground, right? That makes sense. Yeah, it's
right.
like a 4 foot-ish body probably makes sense based on
just saying,
the
if
fact
you ever
that
wanted
I'm,
to posture with
straddling
it, right? If you ever wanted to posture with it, you just get it to stand like on stilts almost, right? And it's just like fucking terrifying.
Yeah, and I mean it's trained, right? So I'm assuming it mostly does these things for me.
You can almost like every time it looks at you as you are riding it so flawlessly, like you see its like little beady eyes, like I'm gonna say that they're on stalks for this one, right? And like the little eyes just turn to look at you, and it's like the Disney eyes, right? And it just like looks at you.
And every time it does that, I give it a little scritch between its eye stalks.
Yeah, loves it. Oh my god, like the eye stalks wiggle.
Perfect.
When you do that.
So yeah, I ride over to Jarrell, and I'm riding like a little high, I guess. I'm getting it to walk high enough that I feel like I'm doing I'm above the crowd, kind of like I'm a hero. Also, don't ask me about my illegal crab. And then squat down a little bit so I'm at eye level with Jarrell, and I'm just like, the ground is shaking.
Is it?
It's faint still. Right, like I mean, like you really only Quinn and Boris really picked up on it, right? But yeah, there is some shaking. What do you do with that information?
I'd go back to Ebenezer.
Yeah, Ebenezer is now like just staring in awe at the swarm of Modrons that are now rebuilding what what was once destroyed. In the same, just maybe like a half hour ago or an hour ago, these things were attacking them and trying to murder them. So it's just like he's just kind of like a little shocked, and he sees you as he approaches, and he's like, "Well," like, still looking at this swarm Modron. He just says, like, "Is that good? Is that going to be a problem? Like, what? How did you do this?"
I mean, you assisted us, kind of.
Yes, but it's just a little shocking to see so many of them just all identify as, what did they say? Absolute integer 0?
Zero kind of raises his right hand and waves, kind of princess waves real quick, and then gets back to 1,000-yard stare, focusing on what the.
It'd be funny if all 150 Modrons turned and waved at the same time.
They, you know what? Yes, just briefly, like they're like while they're holding up something or whatever, they all just kind of turn and just wave, just give a nice little wave, yeah, and then go back to work. And he says, and your friend is trustworthy. There's definitely no way that he could go rogue and then just use these forces to completely level and destroy this city, right? We
very
can count
much
on you.
trustworthy, yes.
We can count on you as allies. Yes.
Yes, of course.
Good.
Evil? Yeah. Evil? No. Irresponsibility? Probably.
I'll take that. There's a fair bit of irresponsibility that comes along with any magic use. We know the drill here.
My young friend here, Boris, has mentioned that the ground is shaking. I haven't quite noticed anything myself, but do you notice this?
I'm going to have him roll a perception check. Come on, Ebenezer. Oh, that's terrible. I'm going to have Filbert roll one, too. Filbert goes, "Yeah, Dad, I think he's right." And he's like, I don't quite feel anything. I mean, are you sure it's not just the general moving of the earth and rumbling we're feeling from these massive structures being moved around?
It's possible, but having watched that creature that named itself after you fly into this ley line, cause it to go sideways, and then disappear,
Oh, tell me more about that. I didn't really quite see what happened there. I thought you slayed it.
I don't believe so. We were handily beating it, I believe. But it seems like that was the cause of the whole ley line going sideways.
Would you say that the cause, like, did it perform some sort of ritual or some sort of act to manipulate the ley? Like, well, what happened to it? I don't see this.
I'm worried that
Ebenezer, he uses air quotes, anymore.
Right. I'm worried that it may have become one with the ley line in some way, shape, or form. I tried my divine senses, to determine this, and nothing came up.
Well, that sounds terrifying. Are you sure it didn't just burn up? I mean, this is, from what we know about this ley line, I mean, it is pure magical energy. It is just...
We normally don't get lucky enough that the evil creature kills itself.
I mean, that's a fair point. Well, that is some cause for concern. What do you suggest we do to prepare? I feel like we are trying to protect all the citizens in the tower, and the tower defenses are more than meets the eye.
Well, however, I've already had both of us attempt to determine if the creature... I'm uncertain of its full power level, but whether it is still in the area, and I haven't found anything yet.
Well, I doubt you'd be able to pierce the veil of what lies, within the ley line. It's pure energy. I think it could disrupt anything. At least some of the experiments we've done on it, there's very little magic that is allowed that we can actually pass through it. It's more like it's something to be harnessed, to be used as an energy source, and we've been working tirelessly to figure this out.
What would occur if something were to use the entirety of this energy source.
I mean, you look at its awesome power. Look at what it's done to this city. I can't imagine anything good could come of it unless it could be contained quickly. But we don't even know how far down this stretches. It could be to the center of whatever this plane is that we live on. We don't know. We've never been able to traverse that far below.
Is there any way to find a specific energy signal in this?
It's all energy. Is what I'm trying to tell you, Jarrell.
But it's different kinds of magic, is it not?
It is everything.
Right, correct. If the creature that calls itself Ebenezer is still in there in some fashion, how would we remove it?
I actually don't know. I don't say this very often, but I'm stumped. Filbert pipes up and he says, hey, just don't want to interrupt, but, I'm not sure if this is helpful, but I remember that one Modron that came to me and some of the things he was telling me about, what to do with the ley line. Apparently this energy can be used for so much, like more than we even know. Like it's power. It's not just power like politics power. I'm talking about like just raw, like energy. And from what he told me, he said the possibilities were endless. We can open gateways to new worlds. We can traverse beyond our plane, beyond the borders of this land that we call home. There are so many places out there, so many people that we could connect with. There might even be alternate versions of ourselves, which I didn't believe until, we've met people from a different timeline. And I believe them now. I was skeptical at first, but I believe them now. I know we got off to a rocky start, Boris. You lied to me a little bit, but I kind of understand why now. It's kind of I really think I would have just thought you were crazy if you had told me all this right off the bat.
Absolutely. I was going to try that next time if this didn't work.
But he's like, Dad, this could be we don't, if this evil thing that's calling itself you is in there or still around, it could have gone anywhere. It could be doing anything. You could be finding a way to channel this energy. I remember this Modron telling me this energy could be harnessed way more than we're even attempting to right now. I don't know. I don't know what this thing knows. It said that's all I know. But I'm kind of with them when they say that typically the bad guys don't just kill, get rid of themselves for you. So, I think we need to be ready for whatever.
Zero sends over to his search party a mental image of Square Modron and be on the lookout, designation 33 cubed.
Right. Yeah, and they obviously they're still scouring. They've already come across a few confused and lost Modron. I'd say they've probably come across about 10 now.
Okay. And also with the command, do not integrate 33 cubed.
Okay. But you have another 10 in your legion, in your search party.
Plus 10.
They're on the lookout. So Ebenezer says, very well. If we can get the structure, I'm not quite sure what to do. We have to stabilize the ley line at least. I don't know what caused it to go sideways. So hopefully this effort can complete, but we need to, I guess, divert some mages probably to defense again. Yes?
That's probably the wisest. It was Ebenezer himself that caused this, a future Ebenezer, whatever that creature is. Again, alternate timeline I'm not sure.
Okay. let me call for some assistance. We have some mages to spare, maybe, but I don't know. I'm just gonna call a few. And he just begins doing that whole fingers to temples thing. Like the probably sending messages and things like that. Being the supreme wizard or whatever that he is. And after a few moments, probably another 10 or 15 wizards come outside, as well as some of the armed guards from the city that had been, brought in. And any of those that looked healthy enough, or that weren't injured, after as they were probably holding back some of the lines of Modrons as they were moving those protection circles, right, to move people along. There's probably about 100 good soldiers and about 10 or 15 mages, about 10, and then there's the other 5 or so that are concentrating on reverse gravity out in the field. So you have a small detachment, kind of here and just at the ready. And Ebenezer just tells them be ready for anything. Set your sights on the ley line. There is potentially still an evil entity among the energy in there, and we just need to be ready for anything. Well said, Filbert. He looks down at Filbert. And, Filbert just kind of looks there's a slight smile on his face. And it's not something he hears very often. He's okay, guys, gang, where do you want me? And he looks looking eager. He's looking ready. He's what do you want me to do? I'm ready. Just sudden boost of confidence, right? Just he's the adrenaline hit. He's what do you want me to do? Where can I go?
Probably best to stay near us. Be ready to help with the fight if it occurs. I'm not sure what's going on yet. And Jarrell still hasn't really felt the rumbling, right?
Ebenezer does say, no, wait a second. Listen, Filbert, I know that I may have been a bit harsh with you, with, your abilities growing up, but you have to understand, it's just, I know and see the potential that that you have, child, but evocation has never been your strong suit. And I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm saying that because I don't want to see you go out there and get yourself killed. You'd be better off with me helping protect the people and casting the protection magic like I showed you. And he looks at me, he's but Dad, I just want to, they're heroes. They they know what they're doing. Boris is she's younger than me. She's doing all this cool stuff. She's got the knives. She's got the thing. She's got a giant crab. Look at, she's got a giant crab. Where'd that come from? I just want to do something meaningful. I want to do something important. I want to feel I want just people to know me and not just think I'm some idiot who just can never be like you. And Ebenezer just says, but Filbert, my son, I don't need you to be like me. I just want you to do what's natural for you. And I tried so long to just shelter you from just these, I don't know, we'll have to talk about that. I don't think now's the time to get into this whole really deep relationships between a father and a child when there is still a crisis here. But I just feel that you'd be best served. Your best talents are in protecting those around you, and there is something very noble in that. And that's what I've been trying to teach you. It's not always about the flashy spells and the fame, the fame and the wizards. Magic is a tool. Magic is something that can be used for great evil and harm, and something that can be used to do great deeds. But great deeds aren't always spectacular and large. Sometimes they're small and still meaningful. And that's what I want you to see. So please, if you wish to go with them, I do trust them to protect you. But I wish you'd stay here with me, and we can do this together.
I have no intention of taking him far from you. I'm just saying that if things pop off, it's best if you're around the most powerful people in the area, which would include you.
I mean, he's kind of looking back and forth between, Filbert is looking back and forth between Ebenezer and you guys. Well, he looks at you, the gang. He's well, I mean, no offense, Dad, but I really like a lot of the things I just heard you said, but as far as I'm concerned, Boris saw the potential in me first. So I'm gonna trust them. What do they like? What do you guys want me to do? Where do you think I should be?
Just stay relatively near to us. We're going to make sure no harm comes to you and not your father.
We're not going anywhere right now. If we do, we'll make a decision.
Okay.
Boris
Go ahead,
gets
Boris.
off the crab and walks over and gives him one of the magic wands that she bought during her shopping trip in Ool, because those are definitely on my list. The nicest magic wand, I guess, that I bought or stole during my shopping trip
Not
in
his.
Ool. Not his.
that
No,
you definitely
do I
stole.
still have his?
Yeah, that's why he
I
was
thi-
using his
did I-
dad's wand. This,
yeah,
okay,
right, I
so that's
did-
something
I
that we
did
never
steal
really
it.
had. That's never really something that we actually like fully addressed. The entire fact that he stole one of his dad's wands is because his was missing. Just so you know. You hand him a nice wand. It is not his
A
wand.
nice new wand. It's not his wand.
Well, it
Okay.
is now.
Okay. Yes, but
Yeah,
you,
it's his
but
wand
you give
now.
him one that was not formerly his before.
And I say, Filbert, keep us safe. Keep us protected. That's what we need you to do.
Okay. All right. I can do this. I can do this. And he just like gets like real pumped, and he's like, "I'll be here though, but like I'm ready." Now everyone feels the ground shaking. Kind of as Filbert delivers that line in dramatic fashion.
Boris gets back on her crab.
Yeah. It's not like you're not like, rocking around. It's not like a high magnitude earthquake, but there's definitely a rumbling happening. And Filbert says, "Everyone, defensive positions."
How's our
Filbert?
construction project looking?
Well, you don't even have to ask. Like you're thinking to yourself, like, okay, the construction project, like, okay, like they were able to right the structure, but they're still working on like repairing all of the actual like pieces of it and like connecting some of the parts that like broke off, right? Because it was almost like this like circle that like because the whole thing split in half, right? So they're trying to like reconnect it all the way around, and they're
Yep.
Not completely done. I mean, it could be
Okay.
serviceable, but the mages haven't stopped concentrating on reverse gravity quite yet.
It's like knowing where I'm at.
But at the same time, the mages, I think, are waiting for someone to tell them, like, yeah, I think it's good to go. And
Yeah.
I don't think anyone is ready to make that determination quite yet.
Yeah, we're not quite there.
So everyone's kind of getting ready, and then you're going to notice that the ley line itself begins to change color.
Ugh.
Not the corrupted color you saw when, the scythe was stuck into it, which is also unaccounted for, we should just mention. But instead, it is turning from like this almost bluish, purplish, like white, kind of like, like almost like iridescent type, to more hues of green light.
Green light.
Green light.
Like,
You hear some like one of the soldiers in the crowd mutter, "That can't be good, right?" Green light? Have you seen such a thing? While I mean, again, there's a bit of a beat again. Like we're just kind of like, okay, like the ground's definitely shaking, something's happening, the ley line is changing. Like, Zero, do you change the course of action at all, or amend any of the instructions for the construction?
Not enough information, but is the structure in a place right now where if I pulled my work crew, would
It could stand on its
collapse?
own. No, it would stand on its own.
Okay, good. We're gonna pull the work crew.
We're pulling the work crew. The structure is still standing, and they just like look back. It's like, is it good? Like the mages that are like concentrating on the spell, because you can see that they're now like like they're shaking a little bit, and they're like trying to figure out like we're not sure if we can hold this a lot. If
What,
this is going to get more intense.
What are my odds? Yeah, I know that's a bullshit question. I'm sorry. Like, yeah. You know what? We're gonna trust to luck and say,
Your odds of the dice I'm about to roll that I secretly...
Hold as long as you can. If you have to break, keep people alive, keep people safe.
Is the instructions that you are just sort of flowing through these extensions.
That's what... Well, that's what I'm telling the mages.
Oh, are you telling them through the other robots, by the way? Because, like, they're closer than you are, maybe?
That's, you know what? That's actually sounds wonderful.
Incredible.
That's how I would do it, is, project it out of their mouths.
Yes, you can do that, absolutely. Okay, they do that. And then just after that, you feel like one of your, like, you can feel from one of your drones that they've encountered a Modron that fits the description of 33 cubed. And so you just, like, if you were to focus your senses, you could be able to see through, you know, their perception and be blind to kind of what's happening in front of you right now. And it just looks at one of your drones, you, and says,
"Greetings, I am 33 cubed. It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance."
Greetings, 33 cubed. We are absolute integer 0. Our designation friend, Filbert, would like to speak with you.
Filbert, you'll have to excuse me. I am still sorting through the events of the last few. What is the measurement of time here on the material plane? Hours. For the Primus was here, and for a moment, I felt a connection once more. And I am having trouble accessing my memories that I made before. But Filbert does strike a tone with me.
Would Primus integration restore would restore the memories requested?
No, I do not. I believe that Prime integration would wipe my memories and make me an extension of the Prime once more.
Fantastic. We'll keep you air-gapped for now.
But Filbert, yes, tell me about Filbert. How is Filbert?
Filbert is the best he has ever been.
That is good. When I encountered Filbert,
and there's like a bit of like a blank.
Sad child. Angry. Ambitious. Useful. We could help each other. I wanted to escape this plane. And he was a willing friend. I, against all protocols, shared with him some of the mysteries of the multiverse. This may have been a mistake. However, all beings are entitled to knowledge that is kept from them.
We have an opportunity to rectify this mistake. In exchange for cooperation, I can grant you safe passage off this plane, and can authorize it as the Primus.
You are Primus? But we are not connected.
We are keeping you separate per your wish.
But no, I am Rogue Modron. I must be reintegrated or destroyed, for this is the order of the way. This is the only way Primus maintains order. You cannot be the Primus if you will not destroy me.
The order does not specify when.
As you say.
You will be destroyed in the Primus's time.
And then it pulls up its like little spindly fingers
Primus.
and does like the air quotes.
If it gets the job done.
Then what do you ask of me?
We have an issue with our ley line. You might be able to help us troubleshoot.
What is the issue?
Rogue future variant of possibly Filbert stuck in the ley line. Need to extract.
Calculating. Outcome uncertain. This is not one that I have seen before. Is the containment for the ley line intact?
Integrity was compromised. Construction was in progress. Estimate
say
completion
was.
75%.
This is very dangerous indeed. If this energy cannot be contained, it has the potential energy to destroy this entire planet.
Fantastic. Send the work crew back on.
Okay, the work crew. You see, like because from them moving away, suddenly going right back to repairing the whole thing. There's like a because you can't see this conversation happening, right? It's happening like far away from all of you, but suddenly now the work crew is now furiously working once more at repairing this structure. But before they can finish, there is another there's like almost like a bang, and like you almost feel like a shockwave push out from the center of the ley line. The structure doesn't fall. The Modrons do keep it from. Sorry, the extensions of absolute integer 0 manage to retain the wall, but you can see already that in some of the repairs that they've made, cracks are forming once more. So this repair will likely be ongoing. It's still ongoing. Because now, even the new cracks that are forming, some of those are now, some of those drones are diverting to fix the cracks that just formed in this some ceramo metal type material that it's made of, and in stone. And the ley line now begins to almost looks like it erupts in this just gigantic green flame.
Green flame.
Just a pillar of swirling green flame, and somewhere in the almost just hovering slightly above this sort of tattered structure that is being rebuilt, you see the silhouette of a large creature, a being of what appears to be almost like pure just a pure amalgamation of this green flame energy.
Green flame
energy
floats out from the green flame. It appears to be it has again somewhat of a metallic frame, but its belly area in torso is completely exposed, and it's just a pure rippling energy with this sort of gaping maw at the center of its belly, where its belly button would be, but it's much larger. It's covered in spikes and spines. It's wielding this black scythe that is engulfed in the same green flame. It's these long, flowing, tattered clothes with just all these types of chains and things hanging off of it, and a face that is just obscured by this spiked hood and these two glowing green eyes that protrude from
green
inside
eyes.
of it. Yeah, it's gonna happen a lot. There's a lot of green happening here, so either we're just gonna keep rolling with this, or we're just gonna accept that shit's green now.
Shit's green now.
And it just slowly floats out and says, "Weaklings, You will not get the better of me. I am the most perfect version of myself. And then he like looks down. You see this like almost like piercing gaze as he shoots a glance over at Ebenezer and Filbert. You, old man, arrogant, blind. You never knew. You never saw the potential that I could become, but now look at me. And he just like erupts in flame, right? Like just like, I mean, as he says, look at me, just this blast of flame. You were too weak to see my ascension. Your flesh burned off your body before you could even see the ritual complete. The things I saw when I peered into the realms of the unknown pale in comparison to anything you could ever teach me. And now you will burn again. And you, and he looks at Filbert, you failed to become your true self. And you will never make anything of yourself unless you submit to the power that I can give you now. You and I are the same. We want the same things to achieve greatness. Serve me or die. Filbert looks up and he looks at you guys and he looks at his dad. I guess we're dying together then. And that's what we're going to call this episode of the Hapless Heroes podcast.
It was Ebenezer Jr. Zach was right.
I love that I'm doing all of the things when he's not here. He's going to come back and be like, what? His name's not Ebenezer Jr.? That's not my impression of Zach. That's just caricature. Anyways, hey, audience out there. Hey, if you love us, if you hate me, if you love me, if you want to shake your fist at me again, as I've said to our Discord audience, every shake of your fist just makes me even more powerful. It's like Thanos collecting the fucking Infinity Stones. But you can come and tell me and dump that salt on me right there on the internet. We're on such places as Twitter and Instagram at Hapless Heroes. We're on Facebook and Reddit. Look for Hapless Heroes, a podcast. Those places have sticky posts or other ways of, they're just like some way to direct you to a link that will give you an invite to our Discord server where we actually are hanging out all the time with our friends and interacting with our fans and whatnot. And, we just love it. It's a great community. Can't say enough good things about it. We're just enjoying, we got some great moderators. We got some great community members. We're talking about the show. We're talking about other stuff. We encourage you to join the conversation. Really do. It's just a great time. So yeah, come find us there. But if you really, really like us, we also encourage you to leave us a 5-star review on the podcast service of your choice. Every review helps us grow in the ranks. Just get more people looking at this show, and we're getting hyped. Like the things are building up here. So we want you to tell everybody you can about how awesome this show is, because we want even more people to hear what we're doing in this little amateur ditty we're doing here. And if you say some nice things to us, hey, we'll say them back to you. And hey, if your podcast service doesn't let you leave a review, we have a 5-star channel on our Discord, or you can email us at haplessheroes@gmail.com. So yeah, shoot us, drop us a line, and we'll say some nice things to you on the air. It's gonna be great. But if you really, really, really like us, we'd love it if you donated to our Patreon. It's patreon.com/haplessheroes. Your donations all go right back into the show. It just helps us pay our hosting costs, like replace equipment that's like bumming out, or just upgrade wherever we can. It's all put in to make this show the awesome experience that it is for you. And by the time this episode's airing will be right around the time that we will have once again paid our hosting costs entirely with our Patreon funds for the second year in a row, I think it is now. And I just cannot tell you how grateful I am for that. It's just an amazing thing. Like it's not even like it's that much money, but like it makes us feel super fucking special. So to all of our Patreon donors, current, past, and future, we thank you. We thank you.
And if you like us, like right now, you like us, Sally Field, and the whole deal, I have a mission for you, dear listener. Find the great American novel. Now note I said find. Not right, but find. You see, there's good news. The great American novel has already been written. There's also bad news. I'm not entirely sure which one it is. What I do know, it was written by Chuck Tingle. Unfortunately, his bibliography is, well, shall we say, extensive and horrible. But somewhere in there is the great American novel, and you, dear listener, if you really love us, will go delve through that pile and find it for us.
So essentially read the entire bibliography of Chuck Tingle and determine which of those is the great American novel.
Yeah.
If you really love us. But here's
you don't love us that much.
Has nothing to do with this with promoting this podcast, and I love it that much more.
No. No, it's got to be the literary equivalent of crawling through broken glass.
Well, I guess there's nothing left for me to do besides outro this wonderful party for you. Starting on my virtual right, we have Nicole playing Boris the Butcher.
And this is why you shouldn't bully people.
Mike as Lord and Captain Quinn Southwind.
All this green is clashing with my purple.
John as Lord Jarrell the Light.
Until next time.
And Dave as Absolute Integer Zero.
Good night, everyone.
And I'm Francesco, been your host and DM. We'll see you next week when we do the big. Is this Ebenezer's final form? Oh, I don't know.
Bye.